Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. Another paid request. This time for Julie. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Usually PayPal is the best bet. And this is for the animated Robin Hood film from 1973. Which I remember seeing this way back to the day. And then a few years ago I did revisit it. And found it fun. I know at the time, I think this was considered one of the lesser Disney films. Because, I mean, before that, you had like Cinderella and Snow White and all these other movies. But I think throughout the years, this one's definitely gone up in terms of if maybe a cult following or sincere, however you want to put it as a following. It seems like the more as years come by, the more that people enjoy this film. And I just see why. It's got characters where they're likable enough. It's interesting to have them be anthropomorphic animals but put into a Robin Hood setting because I don't know if I want to say that wasn't typical, but because I mean you had like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tune stuff that were anthropomorphic characters, but it seems like Disney, the idea of the stuff they did back then, Snow White or Pinocchio, even, or Peter Pan, or I guess Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. It wasn't typical. Either be a flat out animal, like later on the Little Mermaid with the crab and the fish, or a human. Not well. I guess Ariel is half human, half fish, but like full human or full animal or mostly human. So I'm just saying, it brought a different aesthetic for a Disney film. Granted, there are times they do reuse Disney animation, in particular some of the dance sequences. Like when Maid Marian and others are dancing, that's reused footage from stuff like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs among other movies. So I understand people going, that's a bit cheaper to do. For one, I understand they got far behind and they cut corners. So maybe that's another reason why people they didn't look at this as highly compared to some of those other Disney films. But I guess like as a kid, this was just more for me. Adventure. I guess in a way I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan, so instead of turtles, it's a fox, kicking ass and swashbuckling and shooting arrows. And the first Robin Hood I saw was Robin Hood Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner, which is still my favorite Robin Hood film. I do like Prince of Thieves. I love the music. I like Kevin Costner. Even people make fun of his accent. Just like he's supposed to be from England, but I can deal with it. Morgan Freeman, Alan Rickman is great. Wild Spoon, 'cause I'll hurt more. Even Christian Slater, I do like that movie quite a bit. Oh, it'd be interesting if you did Robert Hood Prince of Thieves, but in this style. That'd be interesting. I am well, I guess I was only going to say I'm almost surprised, but at the same time, I remember a few years ago they announced they were going to do a live action remake of this. I think they kind of fell by the wayside. The way Disney is nowadays, that's for the better. But yeah, I mean, it's a short, energetic movie, some fun adventure for the kids. What I liked about it is that the dialogue and the voice acting didn't feel dumbed down for kids. I don't know how else to put it, but it didn't feel like they were pandering to kids with the way these characters, the characters, especially with Robin Hood and Little John, the way they talk to each other, they talk like how friends would really talk, just much more G-rated. And even some of the music was catchy. Like the very beginning, you have this rooster that's an early day folk singer, and he's narrating the film. And the opening music, I'm like, that sounds so familiar. for those who grew up in my era, there was a song called the Hamster Dance. If you took the song from Robin Hood, the beginning, and you sped it up, you get the Hamster Dance. Because in the movies, do 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 do. But then the Hamster Dance, if you look it up, do 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 do, which that was popular for like 15 minutes. I remember, I think it was in high school, middle or high school, that I heard that song a lot throughout the school. People would play it and laugh or something, and I'm like, okay, so that's where that came from. They took this song, they sped it up. Okay. You also have the other song, like, Robin Hood and Little John walking through the forest, lolly golly, what a day. But yeah, again, the way Robin and Little John talk, like, Robin, borrow? We can't borrow. Man, boy, we'd be in debt. Or, hey Johnny, you hear what she said? We're heroes. I guess we've been pardoned. I'm not doing a good job of it, but again, the way they went back and forth felt natural. They just felt natural compared to other animated films. And at the same time, it doesn't feel like it has a big, strong follow-through of a story. You just say maybe the story's a bit flimsy. Because kind of them being crooks, and they steal some jewels from Prince John, and they do some scams. Then they meet up with these kids, and these kids meet up with Maid Marian. And then there's an archery tournament. And then a big battle that feels like the end of the movie, but then the movie keeps going for another, 20-some minutes. Then it gets really dark, where everybody's like in shackles and ready to be sold to slavery, it seemed like. Or hanged or head cut off. And then Robin Hood goes save them, and things are happily ever after. So maybe the story, again, doesn't have a strong basis compared to other Disney films, like The Lion King or Aladdin after this, but it still has a nice charm and effect to it, where, again, the voices on Robin Hood and Maid Marian, they worked in sync well enough. The banter between Robin Hood and Little John, like I said, are natural. You buy them as friends. I know the voice of Little John, who's a bear in this, I think it's the same guy who would voice Baloo in The Jungle Book. I believe it's the same voice. Actually, I think in the dance scene, they use a scene from The Jungle Book during a dance scene, which doesn't make sense because they're both bears. They both almost look the same as well. And Prince John is a goofy, silly, but kind of funny villain. If someone says the word mommy, he inadvertently sucks his thumb. He has a very, I almost want to say, flamboyant way about him. Yeah, I guess in a way. And then when they meet the kids are cute, especially this little one that is a bunny, but they have a toy bunny with them as well. I thought they were cute, and I did laugh when Robin gives the 7-year-old kid, a bow and arrow. I mean, I guess it's not that weird back in the day, but I don't know, I just would be like, hey, 7-year-old kid, here's a gun. Well, there are people that do that, so actually I can't joke about that. That does happen. I'm like, if you want it when you're 18, fine, but when you're 7, but okay, give them the bow and arrow. And Maid Marian and Robin, a nice little love story. Again, not a lot of development, not a lot of deep character stuff. Really nothing that deep. It's very nonchalant in terms of its flow, as in, I don't know how to word it. It just seems very loose. By the seat of our pants, we'll see what happens next. Like I said, there's not a big emotional or story-driven drive to the film. But on the flip side, it's kind of an easy watch, especially for kids. Like, it's an easy watch where the animation. A lot of people make fun of the animation and call it cheap. I don't know. Maybe because I'm back to the day, I don't mind that type of animation, and I'm a sucker for it. I guess maybe in terms of like compared to like Fantasia or something, maybe I can see what they mean, but I still like it. And of course, I guess I should mention this. I know that this film became a big phenomenon in the furry community. I have nothing against someone who's a furry. If you're a furry, be my guest. I mean, I guess this is fur, so I guess I would be. But I call it hairy, so let's get hairy. But like I say, if you're, I have no issues with it. I'm not gonna make fun of you or belittle you. But yeah, apparently this is a big thing where a lot of them really liked Maid Marian. I'm like, cool, just maybe have a shave or two. But again, I have no issues with it. I mean, hell, I like Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Sad thing, she's not real. But yeah, I like just. Hey, if I can like Jessica Rabbit, people can have them Maid Marian. Be my guess. Like I say, it's a fun movie. It's a fast-paced movie. I didn't get bored with it. It's just when it gets to the archery tournament, I think that's the best scene in the movie, where he's dressed as this like bird pelican type of thing. He's doing all these cool tricks with the bow and arrow, and this big action sequence happens where all chaos happens. Robin's fighting people. Lil Jon's helping. Maid Marian's assistant's helping. She's become Maid Marian's assistant. I forget her name. It was like a big chicken or something. She's just running like a football, hitting people like she's a damn linebacker. It just felt like this is the end of the movie. And I don't think the movie ever reaches that level again in terms of excitement. Just afterward, it's like it gets fairly dark where there's taxes, people are starving, Friar Tuck gets arrested, he's ready to be hung by his neck. Yeah, the sheriff, I forget the voice actor, the sheriff of Nottingham. But he's tall. I can't even do the voice. Okay, if you've seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you remember Bob Hoskins had that bullet that very much sounds like. Well, actually, a lot of them did. The one that sounds like the most redneck western. Golly gee! Like this close to Roscoe P. Coltrane from Dukes of Hazzard or something. I think that's the same voice actor who voiced this guy. But him and these guards have these antics, and Robin's trying to get. It's kind of meh. Where the sheriff is yelling at the guard, and there's nobody there, and what are you doing? That kind of comedy, dad stuff in the movie for these characters, I didn't really care. Ultimately, they knock the guards out, they steal the money. They have a little fight with the sheriff of Nottingham, Robin does, and everything's on fire. But because it's a Disney cartoon in this age, they couldn't go too further in terms of action, swashbuckling, violence. So pretty much he escapes, goes to the water, escapes. You think he's dead, but he's not. And off screen, the team just came back and arrested the bad guys, and everything's fine. It's like you wish there was a bit more of an epic swashbuckling finale. There's a little bit of it, to be fair, but it's just I didn't think it equaled the archery action scene. And usually you want your best bit to be the finale, but that's not always the case. So yeah, I thought the third act was okay, but I just thought the movie lost a little bit of lost a little bit of his luster after the whole archery sequence. That's just me, though. But like I said, I do like the characters. I do like the designs of the characters. Robin as a fox, Maid Marian as a vixen, again, Little John as a bear, all that stuff. Prince John was a lion. Like I said, I don't mind the designs of the characters. I know people say Robin Hood sounded bland. I didn't mind the voice of his. I didn't mind it. Same with Maid Marian. The animation, yes, it's not spectacular like Fantasia or, of course, later on Aladdin and such. But I thought it worked well for what it needed to do. Granted, there is some reused animation scenes. Overall, it's a fun interpretation of Robin Hood that's... I'm thinking this gotta be what inspired Zootopia, or... And lo and behold, I looked up an interview. Yes, the director of Zootopia was... One inspiration was this film. So, I'm like, yep, I knew it. I think that's a better film than this, in terms of writing and character work. But I still like this movie for its time period, and... Still a more fun Robin Hood film than the last couple versions. Was it the one with Jamie Foxx in it and then the one with Russell Crowe? I would still rather watch this version, easily. And there's still that part of me that would be interested in a live-action version of this, but go more of the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves. It might be a disaster, but it would be an interesting disaster. Plus, I want Disney to fold and bankrupt. So, please make that. Because I win either way. If it's fun and a gem that you pull out of your ass, great. If it's a disaster, I can laugh my ass off and get some entertainment out of it. So please, please make this the live action, Disney. Please. So because I win either way. Either it's really shitty, I get to do a review of it, and it helps me out. Or the 1 out of 1,000 chance that it's halfway decent. Please, dude, Disney, please. One other thing, I wish the rooster became more of a character. Like, he's the narrator, but he's never really a character within the story. Like, you'll see him, like, here, like, during the escape at the end. He's there. But he's a very peripheral character. I wish he was a bit more into the story. Like, a bit more important to the story. It'd just be nice to see as maybe him be as part of Robin's group or something. Like, he's, again, very much a peripheral character, so. But yeah, overall, I did like it for what it is. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.